Hello and welcome to the Not So Traveling Introvert. Today I want to talk about speaking up is hard to do. I've got this song in my head, the Breaking Up is Hard to Do song. It's an old, I think probably 1960s or 70s song. Anyway, a lot of the times clients come to me and one of the things they struggle with is standing up and or speaking up for themselves. And part of it comes from fear, not knowing how the other people or person is going to react. Insecurity, not being sure of what they're saying and wanting to be perfect every time. But I'm going to say, I want to talk a little bit about this in general. I'm sure you found yourself in a situation where you are desperate to jump in and say your piece, or you have thoughts, right? But instead you kind of stew in silence. If you can relate to this, occasionally you might have trouble speaking up. And if you aren't willing or able to speak up for yourself, be rest assured no one else is going to do it for you. No concerns, issues, questions, or solutions that you might have in your head will ever materialize if you can't speak up for yourself. If you'd like to be the type of person who speaks up when their best interests are at stake, then, consider the following things that I'm going to talk about. Know what you stand for. When people let me try that again. When people take the time to figure out what matters to you, and when you take the time to figure out what matters to you, you'll be more likely to speak up on those interests. Knowing what's important is a good way to figure out when you should speak up versus staying quiet. Start small. One of the only ways to sort of get over that inability to speak up is to start doing it. It might be intimidating to start on something that's a really large scale or large project or whatever it might be. So start with something small. So an example would be start speaking up in a smaller one-on-one situation. If you can do this in advance, write down what you want to say. Some people are way better at writing their thoughts than verbally expressing them straight away. While, you can't necessarily hand over a paper, while in a big work meeting, having your thoughts written down already will give you time to practice your delivery, and or you could send it in an email. Find an early opening. The longer you sit, stewing, thinking, and in silence, the harder it will be for you to actually speak up. Because you'll have given your mind far too much time to create a bunch of excuses, or you're trying to think of the exact right way to say something, and the moment might be gone. Also, finding an early opening ensures that you do get your point across before the conversation kind of goes in a different direction. Your voice deserves to be heard. You have a unique voice, outlook and understanding of things. Your thoughts and opinions are important and valuable. If you can't accept and believe this, you'll never truly be able to speak up for yourself. Recognize that it is hard, but it is worthwhile. It doesn't help for you to think that, speaking up is easy, because it isn't. Acknowledge that it will be a challenge, but realize that it will be worth it. And also, learn the art of diplomacy. Sometimes it's best to be direct and blunt. However, other times it can help you to be a bit more diplomatic. The less aggressive you have to be, the easier you will find it to speak up for yourself. And I know that a lot of the time this is tied up in worrying about what other people will think. It's perfectly fine to consider other people's feelings before you speak. However, it is important not to kind of spiral and go overboard with that. Don't worry about everyone else agreeing with you or you looking stupid. You have something important to say, so say it. Thank you for listening. This is Janice at thecareerintrovert.com, helping you build your brand and get hired. Have a great rest of your week.